So,
Mhm.
14 chapters from the chapter 1. So far, we have seen how Arjuna is being trained or oriented by Sri Krishna towards the reality of life and reality of the supreme reality. That is, who is Krishna, about his nature, nature of this Prakriti. Because unless we understand that, we will not be able to accept what is happening with our life, and we will not be able to take suitable actions which will give us peace of mind, which will not disturb us. That is basically everybody is craving for that state of mind. We call it as happiness. I want to be happy. But truly speaking, everybody wants to have a peaceful state of mind. Mostly, majority want peaceful state of mind, and that they feel is happiness. Definitely, we can. But Bhagavad Gita and the scriptures take us to a state which is beyond that happiness. Happiness, which is spoken of in a general term, is very short lived. But we are going beyond that. That is called a state of bliss or Satchidananda. It's not overnight goal. It's not possible to reach there overnight. But as we travel in that path, we will start getting some wisdom where we feel a ray of hope. We feel uh, we will start getting some solutions uh, which will not divert us from the this peace or this bliss. So Bhagavad Gita is a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, which is being told by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra, and it is documented by Sage Vedavyas. We were in chapter 15. So far, Krishna has oriented Arjuna towards different paths to attain this bliss, Sachidananda. And he has told him about Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. He motivates him and he talks about his different manifestations. And then he has also spoken about Vibhuti and Vishwarup. He has shown his real form in 11th chapter. From then on, he spoke about bhakti. Then he spoke about kshetra kshetrajna. Again, more detailed knowledge about the body and the atman and all that. In the same way, he continues. Now he is talking about Purushottama Yoga. He's here also. It is again emphasizing the true nature of the Paramatman, Parabrahman, the supreme consciousness or the consciousness. So, in any ways, we can take it. And he has told that this misery, samsara, or the struggle which you are facing in life, which we assume to be very simple, I can sort it out and unfold the way. But as you go, you will find more and more challenges, and you are not satisfied with the solutions you have taken because your mind is still restless. So, what is that which gives you freedom from this restlessness or freedom from this anxiety and fear? Because any action you take, you feel you're going to do it, but until you know the true nature of any action and the causative factors, I mean, who is causing this action? Why is this event happening? How can I accept it? And why of anything that's any event that's happening in my life? If I don't understand that, then any action with usual attitude that we take will not give us any kind of satisfaction. Rather, it will make us more miserable. If you go deeply and think, we are all working for either to get a pleasure or to solve a pain which has happened. But the steps that we take, they are not going to relieve us from them. Rather, they are going to add misery. In other words, what I'm saying is, ordinary mind, whatever it thinks, is based on our superficial judgment, which is mostly self centered. I want to get relief from my pain. I'm not concerned about others. I should be happy. This is the attitude most of us have most of the times, which is very natural for a human being because we are all in that Maya or Prakriti. So, therefore, what happens is anything that is self centered will never give us peace of mind. Now, to become selfless, how to become selfless? Why should we become selfless? Nobody will inquire, and we don't have clear cut answer unless we look into the Vedanta or Bhagavad Gita, because we will realize that selflessness, doing activity for the larger benefit, and also with the divine consideration, giving value to the divine existence, that will actually make us feel very light. And the actions that are taken with this attitude are actually going to give us at least some relief from the pain. And pleasure may or may not happen, we are okay with that, but it gives a different mindset for us, and we feel we are feeling much better if we observe in a subtle way. So, therefore, the way of Vedanta, way of Bhagavad Gita, is the one that leads us towards, even if we say salvation or liberation, that is a very far off goal. But day to day activities, we feel more peaceful. We feel very peaceful. Less regrets happen, less mistakes happen, because the wisdom sets in as we listen to Bhagavad Gita or as we read Bhagavad Gita from any source, from any channel we hear or whatever. It brings lot of wisdom and it guides us in the rightmost way. That is the major advantage of reading Bhagavad Gita. Obviously, the pain lessens and the craving for pleasure will come down. We may not run after pleasure as much as we did before this, because we know that when we run after pleasure, then the pain follows, because they are two sides of the same coin. No doubt we will accept the pleasure, we will accept whatever comforts we have, but we will not crave for it. This is the greatest lesson we learn from Bhagavad Gita, because we want to be peaceful. So, with that, he says, therefore, the samsara, um, the life. Samsara means it's world also and worldly life. It is full of miseries like this, because one after one we start facing challenges and we get drowned in that. So if you approach, it is an inverted Ashwatha tree, people tree, and the roots are upwards. So look up and try to get the knowledge from there, try to get support from there, and try to reduce your multiple desires or multiple attachments. These are the two ways by which you can get out of this misery called samsara. This is how you can cut off this samsara, when you will be totally freed. That is the whole gist of 15th chapter. We were in the 13th shloka, and so far we have seen about again he has talked about uh, the external world, what is the samsara, its nature, and who am I. In continuation with that, he says, for example, in the last shloka, he was saying that everything that you see as shining, the sun, the moon, the fire, uh, know that that light is mine. If I'm shining means the brilliance comes through the words that I speak. It is shining this way, and you are also listening, so that is also type of shining only. So both is because of his consciousness. We are not aware of it, we are understanding it. So everything that is shining, that is doing, that is speaking, everything comes is because of his light. It is his reflection, that because of which our senses are doing its activity. Next he says, Gama Vishya cha bhutani dharayamyaham pushnami chaushadhi sarvaha somo bhutva rasatmakaha. So he says, permeating Gama Vishya cha bhutani. Gama Vishya means I permeate. Gamma is earth, the earth with my energy. I permeate the earth. Now he's saying, he told in the previous one, the sun, the moon, he expressed that, see, sun is very brilliantly seen. We can appreciate. So immediately he says, do you know who is behind that brilliance? It's me. So now he says, likewise, I also permeate the earth. He told us about the sky and things, luminary bodies, which is very grossly visible. Now he comes to and goes little in a subtler way. He says, I come to the earth, Gama Vishyacha Bhutani, Dharayami Aham Ojasa. I also sustain them with my ojas. Ojas is energy, little more than the energy which I and you understand. I will come to that. Pushnami cha aushadhihi. I will also nourish all the, I'll also nourish all the vegetations. I'll also nourish all the herbs. Aushadhi means herbs, becoming the watery moon. So there is some deeper meaning to this, becoming the watery moon. Just a minute. Yeah. So I am entering the earth, entering the earth with all my energy. I support all the beings. Gama Vishacha Bhutani Bhutani dharayami. I nourish, I support all the beings. Bhutani dharayami. Bhutani means all the living beings. Dharayami means I sustain, I support. With what? With my ojas. And pushnami cha aushadhihi. I nourish the herbs. Sarvaha. Somo bhutva rasatmakaha. Uh, Becoming the moon. Rasatmakaha. Very interesting. I become the moon, which is full of rasa, watery. Little bit we must understand this, because one is ojas is energy. I support all the living beings with my energy. I support all the living beings with energies. That ojas is not just energy; it's called vigor in Ayurveda, actually, because we are referring this whole Vedanta is also including the Ayurveda. They say vigor, that ojas is a vital energy. It provides strength and endurance, and the energy is a life energy which is running in our body, and that keeps the all the cells in good health and vitality. That means there is an energy. In modern science, we call it as internal milieu or homeostasis. That is a word used for internal balance of all systems, endocrine or nervous system. Everything exists in a balance. That still is little superficial. Ayurveda goes deeper. I have read it. I am not an expert in Ayurveda, but this term is used. Ojas means it is the life force, energy, which is keeping everything in balance, because they describe of different flows like prana, apana, udana, samana. There are dynamic flows with life force, which vital forces which are working in the body, which will nourish the different systems like respiratory system, digestive system, circulatory system. All these functions are in turn, they are modified, or they are kept in balance by a balance of these forces. You understand this? How does the blood flow? We say there is parasympathetic and sympathetic balance. Much more beyond that, subtler than that, is the life forces. That is what Ayurveda describes. So here Krishna says, I am that ojas which is maintaining the healthiness of all the cells of all the living beings. Of all the living beings, I sustain as that ojas. And that's how I enter the earth into all the living beings. So if we are healthy, if everything is working in a particular manner, the energy behind that is that ojas, and that is given by Paramatma. That is consciousness. The consciousness is the energy which is maintaining that. And Pushnami cha aushadhihi. I give nourishment to the plant vegetations. Aushadhi means herbs. Aushadhi doesn't mean only medicinal herbs. Normally we say aushadhi is medicine. Aushadhi means herbs. Now these herbs are useful to us in several ways, isn't it? We eat. What are we eating? The food that we eat is nothing but plants. So how does he nourish them? How do the plants get their energy from? From the earth with those primordial elements, also from the solar energy, isn't it? So when he says in the previous, he is coming step by step. Previous shloka, he said, I am the brilliance in the sun. He also means that that is the energy which is sustaining the all these vegetations. I nourish those vegetations, and those vegetations are the food for animals and human being. How beautiful you see. He comes through the sun. That energy comes into the food. That food we are going to consume. Animals are going to consume. That is how we are being sustained. We are sustained by that energy. If you call it as a cycle of energy from the sun to the plants, from the plants, it's entering the human body. And next shloka continues very interestingly. So therefore, He's maintaining that cycle, food cycle, you can call it as. Nobody has given. This is my understanding. So that is how Pushnami cha Aushadhihi. Soma Bhutva Rasatmakaha. Soma is a moon. And he's saying, I nourish all the herbs, becoming very moon. ಅಂದ್ರೆ I support all beings and nourish herbs, and I become the moon. Iga moon, I started looking at whether the moon has any, because this detail, even Swami Ranganathanandaji, he has not is given one statement. There is an old, it looks solid. The moon looks solid, but it has especially the element of watery nature associated with it. It has got some watery nature. It appears fluidic. And they have found life in the moon also, that we know, isn't it? In the Mars also, in the moon also. But here, and they say, and the moon has something to do with nourishing the plants, nourishing the plants. And when I looked at some scientific publications, to see whether moon has any effect on the plants, there are some publications, PubMed indexed journals are there, which say that they have done some investigation, and they have found how the between the new moon day, new moon day to full moon day, that is from Amavasya to Purnima, new moon day to full moon day. As the moon starts, we see partial and it grows, and then we see the entire moon. No? So during that time, no, there is gradual growth of these genetic material. Growth means there's some genetic change in these herbs. That means moon has some effect on the herbs. It has some effect. Moon has an indirect, because of one is it has a reflected sunlight also. Apart from that, and it has, high tide, low tide in the oceans. It has an effect. So the energy which is there in the moon is also affecting the living beings on this planet. Thirdly, the moon also has an effect on the psyche of the individuals. There are many studies. It seems the word lunatic came from the lunar. So mind is susceptible. That also has been scientifically proven, that the mind, it shows different receptivity with the changes in the moon's cycle. So like that, so I started, it was very interesting for me to understand. So Krishna is a very, very brilliant person and brilliant creation, I should say. How beautifully he says that he has told that from the sun, in the previous chapter is shloka, he says, I am in the sun, I am in the moon, I come to earth, I pervade all the living beings, I sustain them with my ojas, pervading and sustaining them with my ojas. We cannot, being students of Bhagavad Gita, we cannot uh, contradict this, because certainly if you observe, being doctors, scientists, and Bhagavad Gita students, I'm sure all of you will agree that there is some energy behind all the physiological functions in the body, and that energy is nothing but the ojas, which Krishna is talking about. Now, after that, now he says, Dharayami, I will sustain, I am the energy, everything. Now he comes to very, very important shloka in the entire Bhagavad Gita also. There are some key shlokas. This is one such shloka. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritaha Pranapana Samayuktaha Pachamyannam Chaturvidham. So he says, I abiding in the body of living beings as fire. Vaishwanara. Aham Vaishwanara. Vaishwanara is nothing but Agni or the fire. I abiding in the body of living beings as Vaishwanara, and Prana, Apana, Samayuktaha, associated with Prana and Apana. I digest the fourfold types of food. Means it's not the food, it is the way it is consumed. Pachami, pachami means digest. Annam chaturvidham. Pachami means he's saying I am digesting. So the process of breaking down, assimilation, absorption, assimilation, all that of nutrients, which we study in physiology, he says, I am sitting there as the fire. Fire means the energy. The processes which are taking place for the digestion of the food that we consume, The energy is provided by him again, from that ojas again. How? In the form of prana apana. I am fused with prana apana. Prana apana samayuktaha pachami annam chaturvidham. Aham vaishwanaro bhutva praninam dehamashritah. In the bodies of living beings, whoever, animals and humans. Probably the plants also will that also, because plants also absorb the nutrients from the roots, right? And chaturvidham, pachami, I digest. Digestion means it starts from absorption only, isn't it? Absorption, breaking down, then absorption and assimilation. So he says chaturvidham means what? The food is taken. Sometimes we chew the food, just normally we do. Sometimes we drink like milk. Normally the solids are chewed and taken, and the liquids are, they are, we drink them, we suck them, or we drinking, just drinking, no chewing there. And third one is sucking. Sugarcane, we suck, no? Just we take it like that. And licking, like honey. How beautifully Chaturvidham, they don't describe, but this is to be understood. Commentators, all of them have given this. 4 types. Either we chew, or we suck, or we drink, or we lick. Different food stuff, depending on the nature of the food, we follow any of these methods, isn't it? And animals also, some of them chew, some of them suck, some of them lick, if you see that. And the plants, actually, they just take from the, what is that called, from the earth, from the mud. It just goes into the canal, and then it goes into the central canal of the stem, isn't it? From the roots to the stem. So that is how it is taken. So different processes of assimilation, all of them I am there, he says. So we must accept, if we have faith, we can accept the fact, even if we don't call it God, there is some energy which is working, which is beyond our regular descriptions of the scientific processes. We know that, but there, what pushes these scientific processes? What pushes this physiological phenomena? There is some energy. And that, he says, that is me. I am giving that. I am sustaining. Why do you do that? It is my sport. That is his creation. But he's doing it. How beautifully. We only need to go within and observe, actually. In fact, in one of the people, I think all of you are doing yoga. My yoga teacher used to say Brahmari pranayama. Not Brahmari. Brahmari only, no? Not Brahmari. You close your eyes and ears and do pranayama, one type. And
Brahmari only.
What is that?
Brahmari only.
Brahmari only, no? But what she told was, yeah, Brahmari, we bring that noise, sound, no?
Yeah.
The Brahmari tara, andre humming bee tara.
Honeybee sound antara.
Brahmari sound. After that, honeybee. After that, she said, don't open your eyes and don't take out you should close your ear canal. Just listen. You can listen to your heartbeat, she used to say, my teacher. That means, if you become little subtler, you can actually feel the physiological processes which is happening within the body. So we must become more and more subtle to appreciate what Krishna is telling in order to experience. Until then, we will understand, and it will be what I should say, surprise for us. Oh, is it going to be like this? All the while we thought that digestion is happening, respiration is happening, circulation is happening, but nevertheless, what triggers the SN node pacemaker activity? It starts the heartbeat. What is that which is continuously providing the energy to be a pacemaker? So if you start inquiring, then we will understand that there is a consciousness. What makes the brain perform the way it is? Something is there, some energy is there, which is making the brain perform its functions, the neurological impulses. It cannot be so automated by a lower system. There must be some higher energy. So Swami Ranganathanandaji says that he has given an example of digestion, but it applies to all the processes. So again, he says, see how beautifully the solar energy came from the sun, and that energy nourished the herbs, and we got that solar energy through the herbs. Through the herbs, what do we get? We get that energy only. It is flowing like that. And also, we have another energy inbuilt in our body, like Vaishwanara, he said, which is digest. These names are given. If you want, we can use those names, or we can just say there is one consciousness, energy of consciousness, which is flowing everywhere, which is behind the manifestation externally, like the sun and moon, and within our body, like the various processes which are happening. So he says that this applies to all the situations. There is one energy which is behind everything that is manifested, everything that is being happening, all functions, plants, animals, human beings, the thought process, everything. So there is that energy, and we do not every and all this energy is from one source only, he says. Then next shloka, sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarvaihi ahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda videva chaham. I am centered in the hearts of all. Hearts means central core. It is not that anatomical heart. In the heart of all means I am the core of everybody. Okay, but we use that word hridi. Sarvasya cha aham hridi sannivishto. I am centered in the hearts of all. Mattaha smritihi jnanam apohanam cha. Memory and perception. Smriti is memory. Apohana means loss of memory, forgetfulness, and jnanam, that is perception. They all come from me. Memory, perception. So I'm situated in the hearts of all. Memory, perception, as well as the loss of these come from me. Then vedaihi cha sarvaihi ahameva vedyo. I am verily that which should be known by all Vedas. What do the Vedas teach? They teach everything, and I am the core of that teaching. You are supposed to learn Vedas, means you are supposed to know me through Vedas. The true purpose of Vedas is to know me. Vedanta krit veda videvacha aham. I am indeed, because I am the author of the Vedanta, knower of the Veda. I am also the author. I am also the knower. Therefore, Vedas, if you learn, that means you are supposed to know me. That means very subtly he says, it's not the rituals alone. Rituals, we should take us towards him. But we should not stop there. Vedic rituals I'm talking about, which includes everything, including the puja. Whatever you do, it should take us towards knowledge about him. Him means what? Not as a person. Initially, he will appear as a person. Later, it is the Nirguna Nirakara, this consciousness which is pervading sun, moon, herbs, energy, all this. That realization should come ultimately from the Vedas, and that is the purpose of Vedas. And because I am the author of Vedas, because Vedas actually, they came from Brahma's mouth. They are not afterwards. Veda Vyasa, it came generations together. But then they have been compiled and written and classified by Veda Vyasa. Until then, they were just there because they came as words. They have just come as words. And through Brahma, that means it is spoken as Paramatma, Vishnu's words. If you take Vishnu as a Parabrahman, from there came Vishnu, from there came Chaturmukha Brahma, then the creation. Parabrahman is just super consciousness or supreme being or consciousness. We can call him by any name which we like, but that is one energy which flows through everything, good, bad, ugly, everything. Everywhere the same energy flows. So he says, I am there. I am the self in all, S, capital S. I am there in the heart of all beings. We know that. Next shloka will very beautifully he tells. We know that we are all embodiments of that consciousness, because from there comes all this energy which is flowing in all our processes. Number one, and that is present as Jivatma, which is bound by our subtle body. That is the Sukshma Sharira or Linga Sharira. And they exist as subtle forms in this gross body. So we know that. Therefore, he says, I am there in each and every body, every being also, every living being. I am there. I am sustaining living beings also, non-living beings also. But he is there manifested more in the living beings because he performs all these subtle functions. So he says, I am self in all. but also in the hearts of non-human species also, he says. Sarvasya chaham. Sarva means not only human. I'm there in all, in the hearts of non-human species also. Whenever we see the non-human also, we should have that openness to understand the consciousness which is within me, performing me, giving me this energy. The same consciousness is there in the dog or the cat or the fish, in all those. So that helps us to this understanding, and repeated reminding of remembering this fact will help us to bridge the gap between individuals and between the individual and the animals also, animals, plants also. You will start, if we practice more and more, you will start feeling the oneness. You will start that we are all related to each other, humans also, animals also, because animals and plants generally, commonly, we don't consider them as our species. Similarly, some humans also, we don't consider them as our species. We push them out, or we maintain distance or something like that, depending on education, class, caste, everything. So, in contrary to that, this statement makes it very clear. It is the same in every uh, individual, every human being. And very beautiful song is there. Whether I don't Telugu, who speaks Telugu here? Telugu ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ? Brahmam Okkate ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಸಾಂಗ್ ಇದೆ. Maybe we can play, or I will sing that song. Brahma is one. Brahmam Okkate. Okkate. There is only one um, Brahma. Some famous writer is there. So it's very famous, popular song. Rahul Vellar's song is very melodious and very impressive. So you should listen to that. So everybody has the same consciousness. In every individual, there is the same consciousness. Next, he says, memory and loss of memory. Both I am there. Very beautifully, he says, see, he is responsible for loss of memory. If we think a little more deeply into this, imagine, he says, you are born as this person in this birth, and then depending on your karma, you will take birth in the next janma, all that. What if we don't remember what happened in my previous janma, and therefore I start my life fresh, and I assume based on Bhagavad Gita, maybe I have done this karma, maybe whatever I'm going through is my karma, let me accept and work on that. This is a philosophy we are following, isn't it? Theory of karma based on Bhagavad Gita. We don't know. What if I remembered? What if everything comes to me saying, we have come with same people, they say, with whom we lived, but roles were different. Okay. And supposing I start remembering who hurt me there, who hit me, who scolded me, you will start taking full revenge, vengeful agi. We will start settling the scores left, right, center. So Krishna has seen that you lose the memory. Learn, but I will not give them. That is one. Second thing is how much a memory we can keep from our childhood as we grew. Do we have those? No, not all we can keep. And it helps us to be wise also, because why he has given loss of memory. Forget what is not relevant to you. Don't keep digging. Don't keep digging the things that hurt you or that makes you bad, that makes you react. Forget it. Forgive and forget nalli idu bartade. This helps us actually. So he says, this is one interpretation, that I am the memory, I am the loss of memory. For both I am responsible. The entire Gita dalli he says, elladrallu nane idini, good and bad. So same thing Swami Ranganathanji says, that solar energy is there. That same energy nourishes the plant also. Same energy also brings about decay of food. ಬಿಸಿಲಿಗೆ ಹಂಗೆ ಇಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಡಿಕೆ ಆಗ್ತದಲ್ಲ, ಕೆಟ್ಟೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ. It makes it a very dirty thing, decomposition. It happens with the solar energy. So the same energy functions differently. So we must understand that in good and bad, both the same consciousness is there. That means the consciousness is impartial. Depending on the time and the property of the material, it brings about its effects. The same energy brings goodness in a person who has sattvika guna. The same energy brings the worst in a person with tamasic who intends to not improve. Same energy is there. So our perception, our maturity, our wisdom should be such that we must learn to observe beyond what is seen. So they say, see beyond the perishable. The imperishable is beyond that. So everything what is seen, beyond that what is there, that we must learn to practice observing. That is growth, that is maturity. In Vedas, it is I alone that is to be known. That means don't get stuck with the rituals. Don't get stuck with all these homa. Do it. I'm not saying not to do, but the ultimate goal is to understand the reality. Understand we are invoking the God. Who is that God? What am I supposed to become? Not stuck there. Because if not, then we get entangled in the trap which this Maya has done for worldly pleasures. Because all the ritual is to be stuck with the bhakti, which becomes a deal. Bhakti, like just like Prahalada tells, it's not a deal. Initially, it will be a deal. Nanu, in Sikbitre, I will climb the Tirupati Betta. I will go on foot. I will take so many pradakshinas if my daughter gets a seat here. If I get this thing. ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಬೇಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ ಬೇಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಅದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಟು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ದ ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ ದಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ರಿಚುವಲ್ಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ. But later, don't get stuck there. What are we supposed to do? When I am asking, he is giving. That means who is he? He must have so much of power. Then we should stop ignoring. Ene parli, I will face. I will face. Anta our goal should be not those petty things where we get benefit. It's very difficult. I do understand because until we grow, in our age or in our grahastha dharma, no, we have so many things to do. So we get stuck and we have challenges. We do ask God, and it's good to ask God. But rituals and the karma kanda and jnana kanda, I have already told in the Vedas, karma kanda should be only to a particular level. After that, you should come to jnana kanda and understand what is the purpose of my life. Repeatedly, ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಸಾಕು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗೋದಿನ್ನ ಅಂತ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಕಾಂಡಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂತು. You understand that is what I am supposed to be. That is what the Vedas are actually meant to be. Actually meant to be for a wise person. But many of the people normally start through karma kanda. So he said, what is to be known in the Vedas is in the infinite divine reality. I am the creator of the Vedas and I am the knower of the Vedas. Now we come to most important shlokas of that concludes actually 16, 17, 18. I'll read all of them and then I'll go to the meaning. द्वाविमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षरश्चाक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते उत्तमः पुरुषस्त्वन्यः परमात्मेत्युदाहृतः यो लोकत्रयमाविश्य बिभर्त्यव्यय ईश्वरः यस्मात्क्षरमतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रथितः पुरुषोत्तमः यो माम् एवमसम्मूढो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमम् स सर्वविद् भजति मां सर्वभावेन भारत इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदमुक्तं मया नघ एतत् बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृत्यश्च भारत. So now he says Dvavimau Purushau Loke. There are two Purushas in this world. Two Purushas. We have Prakriti Purusha. We have seen Kshetra Kshetrajna. Right? There are two Purushas. Here he is splitting that. A little more in depth he has gone. The perishable and the imperishable. All the beings are perishable, and the Kutastha, that is the fixed, is called the imperishable. That which doesn't change with time is called Akshara. Two Purushas, Kshara, Akshara, and Ksharaha Sarvani Bhutani. All the beings are considered as Kshara. Kshara means perishable. You and I, and all the other living beings. We are perishable. And there is one more, Ksharaha Sarvani Bhutani. All the Bhutani means living beings. They are all Kshara. And Kutasthaha Akshara. Kutastha means that which doesn't change, that which becomes the, the strong foundation on which all this is happening. I'll tell you the meaning of that. Is Kutastha Akshara Ucha. Akshara, that means imperishable. Kshara is perishable. It gets destroyed. So we have two things in all the living beings. Now, what are these? Kshara is living being, means this body, this mind, these thoughts, everything is called as perishable things. Living beings are perishable. What is imperishable? Imperishable, we have so far spoken about Aksharam Paramam Parabrahma. We all said there are two, Prakriti, Purusha. Purusha is that which is consciousness. Prakriti is everything that is perishable, we had told. Now he has brought another concept here. He brings three components. In the Prakriti itself, there is one perishable, imperishable. He has divided that. This is based on the commentary by Swami Ranganathanandaji and Swami Aparajitanandaji from Ranganathanandaji from Chinmaya Mission, Ramakrishna Mission, and Aparajitanandaji from Chinmaya Mission. And Aparajitanandaji has mentioned that it is taken from Shankaracharya's Bhashya, it's called commentary. Shankaracharya is described. Otherwise, this was very difficult. Even I found 2-3 contradictory comments. Somebody said that, of course, we always say soul, super soul. So that way also people have described, but the best way for Advaitist, non-dualistic explanation I am giving based on these two commentators. So Kshara is all living beings with their manifestations, right? All beings manifestation. I am one manifestation, appearances. We are all appearances. We are all Kshara, perishable. Akshara is actually here it is not Akshara Parabrahma, it is Akshara Prakriti, Maya. Here they say this Akshara is nature in its primordial state. Primordial state of Akshara is Mahat Tattva, if you remember. It is that initial, all the elements of which make all these manifestations. Primordial state means it also includes Pancha Mahabhuta and their combination. They are primordial, original state of Prakriti. That is imperishable. That is always there in as a energy. That is also his manifestation as energy. Consciousness, energy, and that same energy came Vaishwanara and all that. And the structure, all this body, muscles, all this becomes a Kshara. Kshara is perishable bodies of living beings. Akshara is the imperishable primordial state of nature in the form of matter as well as energy. So both you can, because matter only gets converted as energy, primordial. That means the unpolluted and it is not mixed, unmixed, pure primordial state is imperishable Prakriti. The imperishable Prakriti in this context is taken as Akshara. It's not Akshara Parabrahman. He comes at Parabrahman a little later. So we must understand that Akshara Purusha, Kshara, both he has used the term Purusha. All the three. Next he says one more Purusha. In this verse he says two Purushas. Perishable, the body, Kshara. Akshara is the primordial Prakriti. And that is providing energy, and that is leading to all the manifestation. It is leading to manifestation. How? Like the gold and the gold ornaments. Commentators say gold is there. Gold ornaments are there. So does the ornament have any value without this gold? No, because it comes from the gold, it has a value. So like that, you and I are different gold ornaments, but we all have come from the same imperishable Akshara. That means we all have the same raw material. We have the same raw material. We are using the same energy, but we are different. Manifestations, multiple, diverse, diversity. Diversity in terms of living beings, different human beings with different mentality and different species, animals, and among animals, so many plants. And all these are like gold ornaments. And we all come from the same gold. And that gold is Akshara Purusha. That is primordial nature. Then he says, Uttamaha Purushastu Anyaha Paramatma iti Udahritaha Yo Lokatrayam Avishya Bibhartyavya Ishvara. But there is another one. He is called as Supreme Purusha, Uttama. This is Purushottama Yoga. He comes to that point here. There's one more, that is Supreme Purusha, called the higher self, immutable Lord, who pervades all the three worlds of this universe. That means Bhuloka, Patala, Svarga, ella, and sustains them. There's another called Uttama Purusha, who pervades all this and sustains them, and he is also within the, he pervades all the other, he is also there within this body also. Because next shloka he says, I transcend the perishable, I also transcend the imperishable. I am above Akshara, I am above Akshara Purusha. Therefore, and in the Veda, I am called the highest Purusha. So he becomes the Uttama Purusha. So Akshara Purusha, Akshara Purusha, Uttama Purusha. There are three Purushas he has described here, and he brings to the forefront that I, with all my qualities, I means it's not that Krishna is telling it, but it is that Parabrahman, consciousness, which is there everywhere, pervading everything, non-living, living, ellanu ಮಾಡಿ. Then he pervades all the three worlds, including the bodies. He transcends these three. And therefore he says, because I am, and he says, there's another Supreme Purusha called the higher self, who pervades all the three and sustains them. Pervades all the three, and he pervades everything which is contained also. And the you and I also are sustained by him. So therefore he envelopes. He says, yo lokotrayam avishya. He envelops the end. Avishya means enveloping, and bibharti, he protects. Protects means he will protect in his, as per his laws. He protects as per his laws. What are his laws? Do good, you'll get good. Do bad, you'll do bad. You are following dharma, I will see that adharma is taken care. So like that, as per his laws, he has set some laws. He will protect the entire universe. He'll protect, like how he protected Prithvi itself from Hiranyaksha, protected Prahlada from Hiranyakashipu, like that, protected the Pandavas from Kauravas, like that he protects you from bad thoughts. He will prevent you from going downwards if you really desire so. Like that, he is there in the most gross form, as well as a subtlest form, in your mind, in your thoughts, in your desires, everywhere he is there. So that is how he becomes a Uttama Purusha. He envelopes everything. Because if you remember, he has said that Mahat Yoni, Mahat Brahma, I am the great, I am that consciousness, and I have impregnated this womb, my Mahat Yoni, womb, with my souls. And that's why we call it souls and super souls. We can take them like that. I am Parabrahma, and I have impregnated my sparks. That becomes a lower soul, this becomes higher soul. But Advaita says that is nothing but him. As soon as it gets impregnated, it is enveloped by this Akshara. So mind, body, all ahankara, buddhi, ella trap agbiಡ್ತದೆ. Then that same Jivatma will start experiencing, because it gets attached to this Maya. And the whole effort is to get rid of that Maya using buddhi. Next he comes to that. So now you understand his division is Kshara, Akshara, Uttama Purusha. Kshara Purusha, Akshara Purusha, Uttama Purusha, which is nothing but Jivatma, and then the subtle body and the gross. Subtle body and gross body comes as Kshara Purusha, and Akshara Purusha is the source of all these. Subtle body, Stula Sharira, all those primordial Mahat Tattva, that comes as Akshara Purusha. It is not synonymous with the subtle body. It is the root for subtle body. This differentiation he has got. So I hope you are clear about this. Then, Yasmat Ksharam Atitoham Aksharat Apicha Uttamaha Atosmi Loke Vede Cha Prathitaha Purushottama. Because I am above perishable, because I am also not perishable, I am imperishable. I am above the imperishable, Akshara Purusha. That means I am above that nature. I hope you are all understanding. I am above the nature which brought out all this. I am above what is brought out. I am above the gold. I am above the gold ornaments. I am beyond these two. I am beyond these two. Gold is still a material. So therefore, they consider me as Purushottama. As I try, Yasmat Ksharam Atito. Atita. Ksharam Atita means I am beyond the perishable. Aksharat api cha uttamaha. Aksharat api means api is also Akshara Purusha. Uttamaha. Therefore, in this world, in the Vedas, they call me Purushottama. Me means Parabrahman. Krishna is telling of Para. We should not think of him as a Krishna avatar. He is the representation of the Para consciousness. So he says, they call me Purushottama. This is a very Uttamaha means the best. Best Purusha is uh, supreme consciousness. Best Purusha is a supreme reality because it transcends everything. It is does not have any gunas, right? It doesn't have any gunas. It is imperishable in the purest of the pure form. So it transcends the nature also because nature still has some element of variation, but this doesn't have. Though it is imperishable, it is still inferior to Uttama Purusha. So therefore, he brings that and he talks about Parabrahma. So this Uttama Purusha is that reality with whom we are supposed to establish because he is the intelligence. Through his intelligence, he transforms into that Akshara Purusha, that is energy, Mahat Tattva. It's his because of his Yoga Maya. And that Yoga Maya brings about these manifestations. So we are all manifesting, we are all showing, we are multiple because we have those gunas. All these gunas came from one primordial nature, that is Akshara Purusha, and that is manifestation of that supreme reality. And therefore, next he says, this is the understanding. So he says, Yomam eva, Yomam evam, no, very beautiful shlokas. Evam asamudho janati purushottamam. People have spoken at length, but I don't want to go into, you know, too much of details of this. If we understand the concept, I think that should be enough. Yomam evam asumudho janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. One who, free from delusion, thus knows me, capital M, the highest person. Yo mam evam asammudo means who becomes wise. When do we become wise? When we get over the moha. Mudha is dumb-witted or less intelligence, low intelligence, idiotic intelligence. So asammudo, that when we become wise, it's opposite of that. Asammudo means wise only. Yo mam evam janati purushot, one who understands me as Purushottama, sa sarvavid bhajati. He, sarvavid means knowing all. Sarvavid, with is to know. He, knowing all, worships me with all one's heart. Sarva bhavena. Sarva bhavena means with all the every point of view. Andre all types of worship antanu artha ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. With all types of worships. And from every angle he worships me. He knows that everything, whatever he does is for me. Because he is now out of the moha. Sammudha in the horag bandhavan. Sammudha is that lower. We may be very intelligent. So now how do we come out of, so then he will start worshipping and he will be normal like everybody, but internally he's different and his aura will be different, and you can make out that he stands out from the remaining. He may not be a very popular person, he may be one among everybody, but his internal wisdom is so high, totally unperturbed, because he has come out of that delusion. Asamuda also means delusion. Delusion because of our ignorance. How do we come out of this, our ignorance? All that Krishna has told, all the commandments which he has told in all these chapters. So if we can follow them along with bhakti, adveshta, no hatred, think everybody equal, equanimity, sukha, dukkha, both are going to be there. Because I saw that sukha came, then dukkha came, then sukha came, then dukkha came. And why am I suffering? I did something. As you grow wiser, this was a mistake I have done. Okay, now I have to face it. It's okay, Krishna, you give me. Anta, parallelly, simultaneously, the bhakti has to develop. When the bhakti and the faith that there is a consciousness, but only if we do effort, no, without realizing that there is the existence of consciousness, if we don't, then our ego develops, lower ego develops, more miseries, more problems. So it's not that we should be inactive. You should work very, very hard towards this and towards whatever responsibility we have been given. There is one, this one, no, statement he says, whatever is given to you, Niyatam kuru karmastvam, he says. Niyatam means whatever is given, your responsibility, your role, your mother, your father, don't give up. Adal mado. Adar joteg naan iddini. Realize I am there behind. So in a day, little bit turn inwards. Last shloka, it comes that only. 20th, now we are reaching that. So do that. Keep doing. Keep surrendering. Keep understanding that this is a virtual world. It's only a tool for me to reach that Purushottama. Every event, every person's reaction, every situation, every financial crisis, every disappointment must be taken as a lesson to go deep and understand the root cause and correct ourselves with bhakti. That's all it requires. With that, we start growing and we start coming out with coming out of that delusion. Then we understand indeed there is one consciousness which is controlling, which is playing. There are certain rules and regulations which I should follow, and that comes here. So, with that knowledge, I can get over my moha delusion, and I will stop restricting myself to I and mine. First thing will come to is we all. Credit goes to everybody, teamwork, appreciate everybody's contribution, acknowledge everybody's work, and accepting the defects. So this makes our mind pure. So in the next 5 minutes, we will take the last shloka and we can wrap up for the day. Iti guhyatamam shastram idam uktam maya nagha etat buddha buddhiman syat kritakritascha bharata. Thus, he says, O sinless one, Maya Anagha means sinless one, this profound science, mysterious science, Guhya Tamam Shastram. Guhya means secret and tala, deep it is. Guha, cave. Guhya Tamam. Tamam is superlative. Guhya, Guhyatara, Guhyatamam. Guhyatara is, it is a little better, good, better, best idange. So Guhyatama is a superlative. Most mysterious is this knowledge, this yavdu spiritual science, understanding the presence of Purushottama, understanding Akshara Purusha, Uttama Purusha, Akshara Purusha, and Kshara Purusha. The same thing has been told in different ways in different chapters. But here he has used these terminologies and very clear, very, very clear. As if we go as even if we go by the dualistic, that imperishable becomes a soul here. We are talking about primordial nature. That becomes a soul, and Uttama Purusha becomes a super soul. We can consider that way also. Only thing is, in dualistic theory, the end becomes different. In Vishishta Advaita, it becomes still different. We'll not bother about that. Right now, there are three categories we must remember. One is Paramatman. Next is our imperishable nature, we are calling primordial nature. And then the Kshara, that is living beings. So if you understand this and its functioning, then knowing this, one attains Etam Buddhva, means understanding this, Buddhiman Syat, he becomes Buddhiman. We are talking about Buddhiman in terms of IQ, in terms of NEET scoring, in terms of what is that? IIT, IIM, Ivy League universities, discoveries. That is not buddhi according to this. We must understand that buddhiman syat kritakritascha. You understand this. That it doesn't mean that we should not do all those what I said. Ivy League, adela, not that we should not. We should do. That is our responsibility as a student, as a professional. We must do that. Attitude will be different. Should be different. That the attitude, change in attitude is buddhi yoga. He says buddhi yogam dadami anta heltan Krishna. Christian ಭಕ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಗೋದು ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಯೋಗ. That means whatever we are doing, we may be rank holder, gold medalist, Nobel Prize winners, but that ends there. It is perishable. Kshara it is. So by knowing this, we become Uttama Purusha. We ourselves will become Uttama Purusha. Etat Buddhva, knowing this, Buddhiman syat, become the Buddhiman. And Kritakritascha, that means achieving what you ought to achieve. Kritakrityascha Bharata, you achieve what you ought to, what is ought to be achieved. What is ought to be achieved in human life? This realization. Buddhiman, become Buddhiman. So the Buddhi, what we are talking now, again we come to that. That Buddhi is that free will which is given to us. We have indriyas, sense organs, senses, nododu, kedodella. Adadmele mind is there. That mind controls these senses. Mind will say, don't go here. Above that mind is buddhi, that is viveka, that is analytical, that will actually, it is a little higher thing which judges, whether this is good or bad, and the conditioning madi, it will give its impression to the mind, and then mind will take the action. That buddhi, it depends on how we cultivate. Munde bartadadu satvika buddhi, rajasika buddhi, tamasika buddhi. Satvika mind, rajasika mind, tamasika. All of them have three categories. That's how the mindset. That buddhi is immediately next to atman, very close to atman. So that buddhi only you can call as a lower bird, higher bird, low, so soul and super. So that buddhi, if we turn inside, always it is going out, like it wants to have external pleasures. That buddhi is guiding the mind throughout. Conditioning happens in buddhi. ಮಾಡಿ ಹಾ ನೀನ್ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದಿ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿ, ನೀನ್ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದಿ ಹಿಂಗ, ಅವಾಗ ಹಿಂಗಾಯ್ತು ಹಿಂಗಾಯ್ತು. So based on its past experiences, impressions, it will guide. If that buddhi consciously, it's again our mind and buddhi, they are together. If we turn it inwards and start seeing this Atman, which is so brilliant, and it learns that there is tremendous power in this Atman. I'm turning towards the Atman. That's what we do in meditation. We close our eyes. We sit in a secluded place. We have control on our breath. We have control on our body posture. Breath to posture, externalization. When we calm down, then the buddhi, it becomes calm. It tries to go within, and it tries to get glimpse of something which is so cool, really cool, and so precious. And few minutes of this silence and breathing in that posture, it has rejuvenated me. Anta, if it has a small taste of that, then the buddhi will start longing for that contact with that internal infinite Paramatman, which sits as Jivatman. That Jivatman is nothing but Paramatman, which is bound. So bound by what? Lower buddhi. When the buddhi starts getting activated, Jivatman it starts manifesting. It starts showing its infinite power. It starts manifesting the peace and bliss. ಇನ್ನೂ ಇಲ್ಲದ ಇವತ್ತು ಹೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ. You can experience this, and this is nothing but meditation. So that has to be cultivated. More and more we meditate and be one with that consciousness which is within, and the buddhi learns that real truth is here. This is ever changing. This will never change. Whenever I sit, I get pleasure. How is it? It's giving me consistent results, consistently love. Consistently, I have started liking. There is some energy, consciousness. Let me turn inwards. There is something people say that it's a truth, pure thing. Let me go towards a purity and with pranayama, with asana, with pratyahara, with follow certain rules that you will not be distracted. You will sit at a particular time. Martha was saying, what is that? I'm experiencing something great. Let me do more, because only here I'm getting consistently unchangeable, imperishable. Rather, it's not perishable also, but you will get more and more pleasure out of it, because it starts manifesting its true nature. Adu hange ide. Namda ahankara kadame adange, it will appear brighter. Our translucency becomes transparent. Our gunas start becoming thinner and thinner, more sattvic, more transparent. And buddhi also becomes pure. Pure means pure water where we see the reflection. Precisely like that. When you see the reflection in pure water, your own reflection, dirty water, we don't see. As simple as that. As simple as that. Mind is clouded. Mind is cluttered. Mind is full of positive, negative, running thoughts. So, yav sari, yav tappu, dilemma, adu idu tale bisi ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೂತಾಗ, there is no reflection. Sit, calm down, take a deep breath, without breakfast, not with heavy stomach. Sit and meditate, and then you observe. That is what we are supposed to do. And buddhi grahyam anta ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಇವರು. Shuddha manas, Shuddha buddhi. Shuddha, the Sri Ramakrishna says, it should not be a foxy intelligence. No hypocrisy. True. true picture. True. When you sit there in that meditation, you feel like surrendering. You feel like your mind goes through all its deficiencies. It will let go and it will be highly energized. Highly energized. That is why, that is how we are supposed to go. And Krita Krityascha Bharata. Krita Krityascha means you will have accomplished, you will achieve what you ought to achieve, and there is no other duty for you. Once you realize and you experience that, as we go like this, no, with meditation, one day we will realize this is the truth, and I and he are the same. There is no buddhi, everything is one, and everything outside is also one. I and that Parabrahman one, because I was Parabrahman only. I mistook this to be the body. Now I am Buddha. And Buddha also said that, seems in the last, after he got up from his meditation and after his enlightenment, he used this very word, because he also said, Kritakritya Kritartha ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಂತೆ, achieving what ought to be achieved. Kritakritya Kritartha, I have achieved. And this is how Gita says, Iti Purushottama Yogo Nama Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishadsu Yoga-shastre Shri Krishnarjuna Samvade Purushottama Yogo Nama Panchadashodhyayaha. Shri Krishnarpanamastu. There we complete the 15th chapter. I hope it was clear. If it was not clear, please you can open up. We can clarify them. Anything?